It's Ash from Super Videos back for another Q&A video. This is going to be Q&A number 48. As always, if you're not caught up with The Walking Dead's TV show and comic book and Fear the Walking Dead, you may not want to watch this video because it may spoil some things for you. So that being said, let's get right into this. The first question comes from The Secret Mask Doom, and you ask, when you think Morales will come back? So the short answer is never, and I've actually got this question a couple of times, but where I stand on it is that Morales wasn't an interesting character to begin with, so I don't think there's any reason why he should come back, and his comeback doesn't add anything to the story, and I actually don't think he should come back. I think him coming back is detrimental to the story and the show itself, and I'll be disappointed if he comes back. Let's put it that way. The next question comes from Psycho IKO. You ask, I know this is an old topic, but do you think Morgan was just making Rick think that Morgan remembered him in the episode Clear, because it seemed like he was just playing Rick by going along with whatever he said? So that's possible, but I think that Morgan did remember Rick, but his mental mind was just not there. That's why he acted that way. Again, it's possible that he was just making it up as well. The next question comes from David Sizemore. You ask, were we not explained why the fake militia killed the people in the shower, or did I miss it? I'm assuming you're talking about Fear the Walking Dead Season 3 Episode 1. So I don't think we were actually explicitly explained why they did it, but I think it was more about Troy thinking of himself as a scientist and try to find out when people come back when they're killed based on what they look like, based on their physical characteristics and things like that. But I don't think that they explicitly explained why they did it or why Troy did it. The next question also comes from David Sizemore. You ask, would you agree that having Heath walk up to Tara's skin and being warned by a whisperer would be a better intro to them than the way the comics did it? And you say your last name is pronounced Sizemore, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right this time. So in terms of your question, I don't think that's a better way of doing it. I think that ruins the first intro of the Whisperers. I've already did a video recently, like a couple days ago, talking about what I would want to see them remix the story as and how I want them to kind of integrate Heath's story with the Whisperers story. And you can actually go and check that video out by itself as well. But just to answer your question, I don't think it's a better way of them doing it. I think a better way of them doing it would be for Heath to come across some elements of the Whisperers, for example, the skin suits, but not actually be a Whisperer himself or be captured by the Whisperers himself to begin with. The next question also comes from David Sizemore. You ask, could you see Maggie killing Negan? And if so, could she use Lucille? So I'm not sure if you're talking about the comic book or the TV show. I'm gonna answer it based on the comics. So for the comic book, it's definitely possible for Maggie to kill Negan. And I think that's one way that would be the best way for them to go. They could have Rick kill Negan, they could have Maggie kill Negan, but I think having Maggie kill Negan would be better. But in terms of whether she's gonna use Lucille, I don't think so, because Lucille is destroyed. She could use any other weapon, any other baseball bat, any other stick, any other object to kill Negan. It doesn't have to be Lucille, because Lucille has been destroyed. So yeah, next question also comes from David Sizemore. That's your last one. You ask, would you be okay with Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead to cross over? No, I would not. I think that those two stories should stay separate. Even though they're in the same universe, they should stay separate. And in terms of the logic of it, the logistics, it just doesn't make sense for them to do a crossover. There needs to be a lot of things that needs to fit in order for the crossover to work. But aside from that, I don't want them to do a crossover even if they do a good job, because I want those two stories to be separate. Next question comes from Royal Skink 35 Royal. You ask, since we probably won't get the Rosita / Eugene comic story arc, and if Rosita and Daryl survive All Out War and the time jump happens, could we see Daryl-Rosita romance? Yeah, that's possible, but if they do that, they need to set it up. They need to basically set up that romance between them. We haven't seen anything for that yet. Maybe a glimpse of it, but nothing too much and not in depth. So if they really want to go that route, they need to do a lot to set that up. The next question comes from Jig Almandras the Goose. You ask, how will the Oceanside girls join the battle? Would they arrive coincidentally to the rescue, just like the Kingdom arrived at the Alexandria safe zone? So one thing, the Kingdom didn't come to Alexandria by coincidence, because obviously Morgan and Carol were there, and the Kingdom knew about Negan and the Saviors, so everything kind of came hand in hand. It wasn't coincidental. But in terms of the Oceanside, I think there's definitely possibility for them to join the battle. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I assume that they will at some point be attacked by the Saviors as well, and that's going to push them to come and help Rick and the others help in the war. But in terms of exactly how they're gonna do it, I'm not sure. The next question comes from Nick Martini. You ask, how many viewers per episode do you think The Walking Dead will have by, let's say, season 12? If it gets that far. I have no clue. I hope that it stays relatively the same as it is now. I'm not sure exactly what it is now. I have to check the wiki up, but I think that by season 12, if it stays that long, hopefully it'll be the same, maybe even a bit better. But I don't think that it's going to do a lot better, because I think that Walking Dead reached its peak in season 5. So I don't think that we will ever see views that high, but we may see a couple episodes here and there that are that high, but I don't think that it'll be something that happens every episode. And even if they do get to season 12, I think that it'll be a point where everything will be stable in terms of views. That's it for this Q&A video. Thank you for participating. If you want to participate in my next Q&A video, write your questions in the comment section below. Make sure to put Q&A before your question so I can find it. I'll see you next time for another super video.